Hey everyone, Brian Whittington here from the Talent, Sales, and Scale Show. Today, we have Skip Lineberg hanging out outside with crows flying around and everything else. So
helicopters overhead.
Helicopters and everything. So mass hysteria just goes for the environment, right? So anyway, so Skip is going to be talking to us today about some really cool stuff. He comes from us from the Main Thing podcast, number of different podcasts under his belt, but his Main Thing podcast is really on wisdom. And so when you're running a company, whenever you're trying to improve every single day, wisdom is a key trait. So I wanted to talk to Skip today about how can we take wisdom, tie that into not only self-development, but then also talent development for our team. So with that said, welcome, Skip.
Brian, good morning. It's great to be with you.
It's great to be with you. So to be a little bit of a wise guy here, why in the world should we listen to you about wisdom? What makes you so wise?
Well, on my show, on the podcast, the wisdom comes from my guests. And sort of the premise of my show is that I've set out to interview the wisest people that I know and to see what we can learn from each one of them in a very short, convenient 9-minute show format.
Okay. So you've been doing that for a while now, correct?
Yeah. July marked 1 year.
Okay.
And so, we're a year into it. I just published the second episode of season 2, which was the 27th show. So yeah, it's sort of settling into a nice rhythm and a nice pace, and really, really enjoying it.
Oh, outstanding. So now, wisdom, is it subjective? Is it objective? I mean, that seems a little bit fluffy. How do we work on that? How do we objectively work on wisdom? I guess that's the question I'm reaching for.
No, it's a great question. And I think I wouldn't have been able to answer that very well a year ago, Brian, but having spent a year wrestling with this and immersed in this topic, what I found is that what we've discovered is there are 2 flavors of wisdom. There's practical wisdom, and that's the kind of wisdom that when you hear it and you're exposed to it, you have something new to do, a new action, a new behavior. Maybe it's a new daily discipline that you're going to own and launch for yourself. The other flavor of wisdom is spiritual. And so when you are exposed to spiritual wisdom, that's a new thought or a new idea that's going to change the way you think or the way that you react mentally based on things that are going to happen to you in the course of your life or in the course of your day. So we've got practical and we've got spiritual. Both are valuable. And we need both. I believe we need both types of wisdom to be effective, to grow, and to be smarter. Brian, I have just lost your audio. I'm not sure what's going on there.
That's because I was on mute. Didn't want to hear you typing. So that wasn't very wise. How would you, not to be Webster's dictionary, but how would you define wisdom? I mean, give us some context here, please.
Yeah, wisdom is new knowledge that you can learn and apply.
Okay. Now that's because you gave us the 2, that's practical and spiritual. So whether it's spiritual or practical, it's what you can take, learn, and apply. Right. Okay. Got it. So what would you say a lack of wisdom is?
Right. A lack of wisdom is, I'll give you a couple examples. A blind spot. A lack of wisdom is something that you don't know that until you're exposed to it, it could be a pitfall. It could represent a threat or danger. Wisdom also, a lack of wisdom. If you don't have wisdom, you're going to have impaired judgment. You're going to have poor judgment. You're going to probably make decisions that are not as good as they can be when you do have the wisdom.
Okay, so we have a blind spot. I don't even know what I don't know. Yes. And then because of a lack of wisdom, maybe we've had an experience and we haven't learned from it. We have impaired judgment and make poor decisions.
Well said. Well said. Yeah.
Now, is lack of wisdom, is that I just don't have the smarts? I don't have the learning? Is it I don't have the experience? Is it that I haven't taken and applied what I've learned? I mean, talk to me a little bit more about that.
I think it's the first three. I will give you yes, 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 and then maybe not quite. So it is that you haven't learned, that you haven't experienced. Through learning and experiences, you're going to gain wisdom. And then whether or not you apply it, I think comes down to discipline, commitment, purpose.
Okay. So discipline, wisdom, or I'm sorry, say that again. Discipline, what?
Discipline, commitment, those probably pretty synonymous, and then purpose.
Okay. Well, actually, I would maybe push back a little bit. That discipline is maybe a little bit different than commitment. I would think that if you didn't have commitment, then you're not going to be disciplined. And my sense is your purpose really is what your purpose would be. Your why. Your commitment is the resolve, and then the discipline is to keep the ability to keep your commitment. Is that a fair statement?
I think that is. Yeah, I like that. I think that's pretty well laid out.
Okay. I almost sound wise. Thank you. All right. So from my purpose, I determine to what I'm going to commit. And then from that commitment, I choose what disciplines I'm going to practice. So whether it's atomic habits or all these other forms and purposes out there, it's really how do I do that